Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, this is the third attempt to do a video this evening. I've been out and about, as you can probably gather. And yes, we have the lens flare, the bizarrely intrusive lens flare, which is now beginning to do my head in. And no matter what I do, I can't eradicate it. It seems to be here predominantly. Like, no, I want to make my presence felt. So I'm gonna shed some light on your bullshittery, Kilt-Man. So here we go, spotlight on you. And there it is. But that isn't why I've had 3 failed attempts. We have, as you guys well know, the Kilt Mansion is haunted. But there's a new manifestation, and as in the last few days, and it's beginning to really piss me off. Sorry. There's something scampering about in the walls. Oh, it's a mouse, it's a this, it's a that. No, it ain't any of those. A mouse do not make the noises that we're getting right now. And anyway, we've had this for a few nights, and I started filming, and I'm downstairs. This is the Kilted kitchen, and something in the walls here was running about and making real big bad noises. I don't want to hear it again, but I can't hope that you do hear it during the course of the video, because you may well do. And if I do hear it, I will stop the music and I will go like, listen to this. There's something there. Rats in the walls, folks. Rats in the walls. You're never more than a foot away from a rat, apparently. That's what they say. I hope that's the case. There's something running about the walls of Kilt Mansion, and I've never heard anything down here, but apparently it's happening now. So we'll see. Anyway, listen, folks. I've been out and about the last couple of days, and I've met numerous friends and old comrades from the wartime years, and it's been great. Football matches aplenty, and stories, anecdotes, and I've been out a hell of a lot. So no excuse for like not doing videos, but that's why there's been no videos. I've been out, out and about and having fun, and it's been great. But I thought, like, well, what's happening now in the world of movies that really interests us in the Kilted clan? You guys know that I love vintage movies. Universal, RKO, Hammer. And we all love these. And Hammer has had a resurgence in the last, well, that's 20 years or so. It's been coming back and coming back. Oh, Hammer's coming back. And you had, I'll give you a rundown. You had Beyond the Rave. Well, we won't talk about that. You had Let Me In, 2010. The Resident, 2011. The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe, 2012, which is great. The Quiet Ones, 2014. The Lodge, 2019. That wasn't 2019, I'm sure it wasn't. Dr. Jekyll with Eddie Izzard, or whatever his name may be these days, in 2023. There may even be a couple more movies as well. But it's Hammer lending their name to other productions. And those earlier ones, apart from the likes of Let Me In, which was reasonably good, but it wasn't a Hammer movie. It wasn't a Hammer film. It was an American-made movie, a remake of Let the Right One In, of course, as we all know, which is by far the better movie. Woman in Black was a remake of the TV show, TV movie in the UK from like 1982, 3, whatever it was, like, which is outstanding. And I do like the Daniel Radcliffe version. I think it's what I'm born and bred and weaned on horror movies. But I was born 1969, but by 72, 73, I was sitting on my mum's lap watching horror movies, lapping up horror movies, Universals and Wolfman and all that kind of Frankenstein's monster, Creature of the Lagoon. I knew them all. And then of course, I lived in the Phoenix Cinema in Wallasey Village, and I was there every single day for about 4 or 5 years, without a doubt. I didn't go home from school, I went there from school, and I watched X-rated movies day in, day out. Hills of Eyes, The Brood, Scanners, oh god, Halloween, so many movies which I shouldn't have seen, but I did, and I loved them, and it shaped my the movie map of my life. So I know these movies inside out. So where was I going with that? So Hammer was the major thing on TV, and Hammer by that stage had died a death. You had Captain Kronos, you had Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell, Satanic Rites of Dracula AD 1972, and it died. Basically, Hammer died. They were trying every new stab at everything going, and Captain Kronos and Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, these things did break the mold. They were kind of crazy, they were nasty, they were also very avant-garde, and just pushed the boundaries. Different directors, different writers, and just tried something new. And I loved a lot of the early 70s Vampire Circus as well. God, how out there was that? Threat and jeopardy to the kids. It was nasty as hell, and it's a wonderful movie. I will cover Vampire Circus. I've promised for a good 6-7 years now. I'm gonna cover Vampire Circus, and I haven't done it yet, but I will do. But Hammer died then. You have the Hammer House of Horror, the TV show, then Hammer House of Mystery and Suspense, or whatever it was called, which wasn't anywhere near as good. But Hammer keeps on trying to come back. So you had Woman in Black. You had, well, what did we get? I was saying before, Beyond the Rave, Woman in Black 2012, Let Me In, The Resident, Quiet Ones, The Lodge, Dr. Jekyll. Out of all that slew of movies there, Woman in Black is the only one I would give any kind of kudos to. The only one. And even that is a watered down, sanitized reimagining of that TV show, that TV movie. It's still great, but it's like entry level. It's like if you're a teenager and you want to explore the horror genre, well, here's a great movie to watch. It's disturbing, great imagery, it's haunting, it's atmospheric, it looks visually splendid, it's acted superbly well, but it's not that nasty. It won't disturb you or give you nightmares, but it's like, if you like this, you'll get into horror movies, and then you explore maybe more outrageous examples and more disturbing examples of the genre. But I think that's a great movie, and Hammer are still coming back. John Gore took over the great moniker. Who could ask for a better name for a head honcho of Hammer but a guy called John Gore? And he took over a good few years ago now, and he oversaw the Eddie Izzard Dr. Jekyll. Now, say you want about the way things are these days, Dr. Jekyll I thought was an interesting movie with an interesting cast, particularly the lead role of Eddie Izzard, who is, well, I don't know how you're gonna. Is he transgender? I don't know what he is, and I'm pretty certain he doesn't know what he is either. But he has his own, a new name and the Eddie Izzard moniker, And he says, well, just whatever you want to call me that. I'm alright with it. But you know where I'm going with this. And so it did appease a certain narrative, a certain agenda. It's not a bad film. I watched it and I thought I actually quite enjoyed it, but I'll never watch it again. I don't think it didn't hit all the high points for me. It wasn't a horror film. There was definitely an agenda being struck up there, but you know, I wasn't aggrieved by it. It didn't, you know, piss me off, but it weren't what I expected and what I wanted from a horror movie, from an offshoot of Robert Louis Stevenson's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It wasn't that. Hammer also did their own, well, it wasn't them, but they put the money up for it as well as a co-production of Let the Right One In, one of the best vampire movies in the last couple of decades, without a doubt. Haunting, sepulchral, it's gleefully nasty in places. It's a romance, it's a doom tragedy. It takes the vampire mythology and it really runs with it, does something different. And they did their own version, I thought the anglicized version, the Americanized version. And Hammer got involved in that. And yeah, it's not bad, but it's not original. They took on someone else's movie and done their own version of it. So I can't go wow, Hammer, you did well there. Hammer was way down the production list. They got involved, they put money into it, but it wasn't their movie at all. It's rather overt piece of musicality there. But we'll come on to this. There's a reason why I'm playing this. Because what's Hammer doing now? Hammer's back again. Oh, the big Hammer revival. Look, I adore Hammer movies. Eastman Colour, Terence Fisher, Oliver Reed, Michael Ripper, Michael Gough, everybody who's involved with Hammer movies, and there's so many other people, obviously. And Curse of Frankenstein, Dracula, or Horror of Dracula, Americans, that's how you know it as. Plague of the Zombies, Dracula's Risen from the Grave, Dracula Prince of Darkness, Devil Rides Out, the Quatermass movies. Look, I could go on and on and on. But for every great Hammer movie, there's a shitty one as well. But we love even the shitty ones from the 50s, 60s and early 70s. Because there's always something great about them. Production design, Bernard Robinson. Art design, production design. Fabulous cinematography. The coloured gels going over the lights to give a cast a different colour, different perspective on things. Roy Ashton and Phil, I forget the guy's name now. The makeup effects were revolutionary for their time. The gore and the titties and, it was sex and horror mingled together. Oh, and the British censors despised them. John Trevelyan and his cohorts. My God, Hammer would send their scripts to the BBFC, which in those days, it was the BBFC was the British Board of Film Censors. Now BBFC means British Board of Film Classification. But there's a video in the waiting about that, about the way the BBFC is still run these days. So they'd send a script to the BBFC and they would go like, no, you can't have that. Blood on breast, no. This sounds horrible. A werewolf salivating over the wounds of a victim. No, we can't have this. Yeah, you must change this. They were getting it from the script level. So it go back to like Terence Fisher or whoever else, Jimmy Sangster, all the directors of Hammer movies. And they go like, well, okay, yeah, well, going to remove that, remove this, remove that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. And they wouldn't do a damn thing. And they'd make the movie and submit it to the BBFC. And they go, okay, we took on board what you said and we took it all back. They hadn't changed anything. They'd done the film that they intended to make. And the BBFC would go like, okay, That's allowed. So they got away with murder. Now, it didn't always work. Many films were butchered and censored, of course. We know this. And not only now, in the last sort of couple of decades, have you got the full uncut versions, the likes of Curse of the Werewolf and other ones. But they've come out now, and we know what Hammer intended. And Hammer's now kind of tepid. If you look at these movies now, the 70s ones really pushing out there a fair bit. Hands of the Ripper, Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, and obviously Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, and Vampire Circus really do go out there and push the taboo limits. And I love all those movies. But they're still going strong. So, anyway, what's happening now? We have a new Hammer movie. It's being made right now. Right now it's being filmed. I think I did mention this in a previous video, but it's called, I've got to try and pronounce this correctly, Ithaqua. Not a great title for a movie. It isn't, because none of us can fucking say it. Ithaqua. It's an Algonquin sort of term, Native American term. It's a term for what? The Wendigo. What's the Wendigo, you ask? Well, you know. American folklore, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Dogman, werewolves, of course. The Wendigo. The Wendigo is a very ancient Native American entity. And what it is, Ambrose Bierce and August Derleth and H.P. Lovecraft used the Wendigo in their fiction. Kind of. And it's a kind of almost like a Cthulhu, one of the Cthulhu brethren of, you know, the old ones, but lives in the woods and the forests, and it eats people, and it's an ancient demon. Eats people. It's hairy. It's sometimes horned. It's cloven hooved. It could be whatever. Dogman, werewolves, they do fit the Wendigo, and Bigfoot and Sasquatch especially. So you partake of human flesh, and this is the point of the movie, which we're going to get, apparently. You bite human flesh, and they survive the werewolf myth again, the vampire myth. Then you become one of them, and you will become Wendigo, and you will have to eat human flesh again. Human flesh is always this thing. Why do you think that a shark of any species bites a human being? Bites, not necessarily kills, but bites a human being. Then hunters go out, Jaws, and they will go and kill any shark that they think could be responsible, wiping out many sharks in the process. And they kill it. Right, okay. A wolf suspected of an attack on a human being. They'll go out and they'll kill many wolves. Grizzly bears or brown bears kill a human being in their territory. Humans then go out and go and destroy every fucking bear in the vicinity. Kill them. Why do they do this? They do it because they have this, there's an ongoing, I can't call it a myth because I think it's genuine. Well, I know too much about it to say it's not a myth. The animals that partake of human flesh and blood become addicted to human flesh and blood, and will then hunt more humans again. Because, wow, it tastes great. It's wonderful stuff. I want more of that. So we go and hunt them down and kill them. Yeah. Two things. What is it about human flesh and blood that makes animals want to eat us again and again and again? They become addicted. We do, humans, you, me, none of us really exist on this planet. We shouldn't be here. We are an aberrance, an abhorrence, a pestilence upon this planet. We fuck with the ecology, we fuck with everything. Politics, geopolitics, we wage war, we destroy the landscape, we destroy everything. We eradicate species, we disrupt the food chain, we bring in our own viruses and problems and destroy. And oh my god, avian flu doesn't affect you or me. We eradicate tons, millions of birds because of it. Avian flu, mad cow disease doesn't affect us, but we destroy tons and tons of cattle because of it. Okay, that's us. We are ridiculous. We don't belong here. We shouldn't be here. God alone. Well, I don't believe in God, but whoever is up there, who's pulling all the strings and hitting all the correct, or the incorrect, keyboard instructions. Only they know what the grand scheme really is. The humans do not belong on this planet. They don't. It's a mistake. More videos about that. I've done them in the past. You guys know that, and it's not the time or the place to go into all that right now. But so humans. Animals get a taste for human flesh and then go pursuing them, so the mythology is, and then they get hunted down and eradicated. There was 2 points to that. The second point would be this: human beings, serial killers, rapists, murderers, absolute vile bastards. They commit untold horrific crimes. Then they get caught. And then the judiciary looks after them. They've got their reasons for doing it, and we'll look after them. Yes, they've been convicted now, but they're going to be fed and looked after. They don't get fucking shot in the head when a grizzly bear does for doing, or a shark, just doing what it does naturally. You've come into my territory. I just see you as food. You've pissed off me and my young ones, and you shouldn't be here. And I've took you down. And then humans go and hunt that down, destroy it. But we don't go and hunt down human killers who take pleasure in torture and horrific mutilation and rape and all sorts of butchery and atrocities. We don't hunt them down and kill them. Oh no, we find them and then we look after them, because they've got problems, but we'll kill the animals to do it, who are just doing what animals do in the actual food chain, with an interruption by us. So, Hammer horror. Let's get back on track, Kilt-Man. Let's fucking get back on track. Ithaqua, Algonquin term for Wendigo, Wendigo is an Algonquin term for this demon folkloric thing which exists. It's huge. It's a Sasquatch type creature, but kind of not, and it likes to eat human flesh, but it will create other people, victims. The zombie plague, the vampiric plague. You can see how the folklore all gets intermingled. Vampires put the bite on, but don't drain all the blood. They become a vampire as well. Yeah. A werewolf. Put the bite on, but don't kill them. Yeah. They become a werewolf. Zombies. Put the bite on and eat a little bit, and then somehow or other get distracted, but you survive. And then, or you haven't been devoured entirely, you'll come back as a zombie. The plague continues. The Wendigo is this. So what Hammer's new movie is, filming right now in Canada, directed by, co-written and directed by, let's get some of this shit sorted out, some of the facts and figures. Casey Walker. I don't know. Casey Walker is directing and produced by Casey Walker. So maybe he's not written it, I don't know. Starring Luke Hemsworth. That's one of the Hemsworth brethren. Yes. Chris Hemsworth. Luke Hemsworth. Oh, that's him. Liam Hemsworth. But this is Luke Hemsworth. Kevin Durand. Now, Kevin Durand is in so many movies. He's Robin Hood, Wolverine Origins, oh fucking loads more. He's a big guy, he's muscle bound. I like him, he's a good actor as well. So I like the fact he's in there. Luke Hemsworth, I'm not like, well, what, really? Don't know. Craig, is that Lawson or Lawson? My daughter's written this, I can't really work it out now. Lena Robinson and Michael Pitt. I don't know any of those last three names at all. Principal photography took place in Thunder Bay, Ontario in January this year, 2025. So it's filming right now. Principal photography sometimes can last, what, I don't know, 3, 5, 6 weeks, 12 weeks. It could go on, reshoots and all that. And then you got post-production and all that. So it began January 2025. We're now at the last quarter of February 2025. So it's not beyond the realms that they've actually finished, actual photography. But I don't know. Right, and what is the plot? Okay, yeah, it's a period horror movie. So it's set in the early 1900s. So an outpost is starving. A mercenary fights to unite the survivors against the cold, the hunger, ... and something far worse. Quotes, a dark force is watching, waiting, and those who fall into its grasp are cursed with an insatiable hunger for flesh. See what I'm saying? Wendigo, zombie, werewolf mythology. You get bit, you fall under its spell, you become one of them. So you can't trust, there's a big beast out there, but there's also, you can't trust the ones who may have survived a bite or two. Now in production, right? Ithaqua. Well, Ithaqua is the Wendigo, the Windwalker, many other different names. Algonquin, Native American tribes, always foretold and told about this. Foretold and told. They told you twice, and there are other movies around this. The whole Sasquatch and Bigfoot mythology definitely takes on board the Wendigo mythology as well, and it kind of interbreeds itself. But there's something more. Whereas Bigfoot and Sasquatch are not frightening, they're not known as killers of men. There are different stories, obviously, but they're not known as that. They're frightening, obviously, because they're great big humanoid, ape-like, towering structures of fur and meaty faces and like lumbering shoulders and and all that. And but the Wendigo is by far more of an aggressive sort of entity. It will take you down. It will do stuff. I'm playing Ravenous, the great 1999 movie, and this is the score by Damon Albarn and Michael Nyman, and you're gonna hear one of my favourite bits of music ever. Gentle, lyrical. It's a threatening lullaby, and you will get, it'll develop. Guy Pearce develops a taste for human flesh. And other members of the outpost will develop taste for human flesh. Frontier time. It's Dyatlov Pass and the Donna Kebab, Donna whatever, Northwest Passage, when they end up resort to cannibalism, and other legends ensued because of their predicament. And Ravenous is a take on that, but they become flesh eaters and you can pass the plague on. love that bit there. That's someone called Waterman, which Damon Albarn from Blair found this guy, and he became part of the soundtrack structure. It's a wonderful, wonderful score. It's a great movie. It's so fucking bizarre. But that's a Wendigo, a take on the Wendigo mythology. Hammer is now quite clearly doing their own take with Ithaqua. It's a really bad title, I gotta be honest. I would presume they may change that because it does not float off the tongue. Ithaqua. Well, maybe it would just encourage people to learn new lingos. I don't know. But it still sounds really, really naff to me. I'd rather it's just called Wendigo, because a lot of us know kind of what the Wendigo is. Although I bet you most of you don't know the folklore behind it. You've seen some movies, you've heard some stuff, but go and have a look. It's way different from what the movies tend to portray. So if Hammer comes up with something a bit more original, a bit more authentic to the legend and the folklore, then hats off. So the folklore of the Wendigo. Northern Algonquin Indians, a cannibalistic giant. Yeah, I wrote this down before. No, I didn't. My daughter wrote this down before. A cannibalistic giant, a person who has been transformed into a monster by the consumption of human flesh. I wish I read that out earlier, because that would have saved me a lot of going around the houses trying to talk about it. So, have we got the? It might be here. Let's have a little look. No, I didn't put it on, did I? Oh, did I? Sorry, folks. I'm trying to find the description that they actually gave for this. I think I read this out before. I think I read a part of it anyway. Right. This is what they're saying. This is what Casey Walker, the director, will soon unleash Ithaqua, which is set in the brutal wilderness of 1800s Canada. Hammer film previews, this is the quote, "The fair trade is in decline and the remote outpost is starving. A mercenary fights to unite survivors against the cold, the hunger, and something far worse. A dark force is watching, waiting, and those who fall into its grasp are cursed with an insatiable hunger for flesh." A mercenary. You see, again, suddenly you're going like, well, we've got an outpost, but we need it, and they're beleaguered. The weather's set in. There's something's happening out there, and who's this guy going to come in? This loner, who's armed to the teeth, and he's probably got ultra skills. He's been out. He's ex-US cavalry, or he's whatever he is. Like, he's a scout, he's a tracker, he's a hunter. It's the same old shit, isn't it? You know, you've got to have some guy who's the hero. Will they turn things right arse about face and make him? He's actually the bastard. He's the one that's going to take them all out. But they bring him in and he protects them for a bit, but he's really the one that's doing it. I don't know. This is what they said as well. Hammer teased, "This is horror as it's meant to be, terrifying and utterly unforgettable." Don't say that shit before your films come out. That may be your intention, but you're massively going like, this is what horror really is. It's gonna be terrifying and unforgettable. You've seen nothing like this ever before. And then the film comes out and you go, oh shit, that's really crap. Don't come out with stuff like this. Just say, look, what we intend to do, we're trying to make this nightmarish and scary. We're trying to make it historically relevant, you know, to the period, the time, the era, the weaponry they had, the clothing, the structures, the food sources. The lingo. We're gonna try to make it as authentic as we can, and we're gonna bring in this really horrible, you know, monstrous angle to it, and then we're gonna just see what happens. That's great. Don't just say, this will be horror like you've never seen it before. This is gonna be the biggest and the best, because that never is the case. You start giving it loads, I'm afraid you lose big time. My tea's gone cold. This is horror as it was meant to be, terrifying and utterly unforgettable. You haven't made the film yet. You're filming it now. You may actually be in it, well, beginning the post-production elements. You may be. I don't know. But you've got to watch it and put it together, edit it together, put the music in there, and then have you created it? I really hope they have. The Wendigo story has never been properly told. There's many movie, straight-to-video crap of Wendigo, you know, but it's Ravenous is the only one that's actually tried to do something with that mythology and told its own unique story. Frightening, very funny, blackly, bleakly, what's it called? You know, tombstone humour, and exciting, bloody, gory, and really sort of, I don't know, it plays with your emotions, it changes everything. You've got some bizarre characters in there, you've got some bizarre actors who have since, when you watch the film now and you know who they are and what they've done, you kind of like, do I want to watch this movie because I know what you got up to, and you're a nasty bastard, yeah. But the movie itself is terrific. And I'd say so far, it's the best rendition of a Wendigo story in movies. Now, who knows, maybe this could work. Let's have a look, let's just see what they say here. There's more to this. And I have killed off the screen. You can't talk about the history of horror without talking about Hammer Horror. With Hammer Film Productions over the years releasing countless classics, including their own takes on iconic monsters such as Dracula, Frankenstein and the Mummy, and after that the Werewolf, and their movies solidifying the likes of Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing as true icons in the horror genre. Oh, that was it. That was the final paragraph. Well, that's good, isn't it? I really thought I was going to go somewhere. It goes nowhere. So anyway, I love Hammer. I don't admire much of their later product because I don't know, they haven't got an identity of their own anymore. They don't have that. With the original heads of Hammer, way back in the 50s and 60s, Hammer stamped out, hammered out their own iconography, their own style, their own beautiful cinematography, art design. They pushed stuff, books and babes, and then lots of nudity, blood on breast, lots of gore, great effects for their time, real monsters, but great stories as well, all done within like what, a scant 90 minutes were done. Great stories, great characters, and loads of incidents and action. 90 minutes, you're done. A double bill of Hammer horrors, 3 hours, perfect. And they did that in the early to mid 60s with Dracula, Prince of Darkness, and Rasputin the Mad Monk, and of course Plague of the Zombies and The Reptile. All films I've covered a lot, and they worked. Hammer knew their model, their business strategy. They knew, I'm doing all this stuff. They knew what they were doing, and it worked. Okay, lots of toing and froing with the BBFC, and a lot of censorship problems which they had, but their films became massively renowned, historically revered. Brilliant stuff, brilliant. And then they got outdated by the likes of George Romero and Roger Corman, and obviously John Carpenter and anyone, independent, low-budget movie makers. But they couldn't compete with the big guys, the likes of The Exorcist and The Omen. They couldn't compete. They tried to. Saint Night of Dracula, to Devil a Daughter. Oh, really bad, really bad. But they were trying to do stuff. Amicus was pushing things out there. Hammer just fell behind. But we do our gothic horror. We're best with gothic horror. But no one's interested in gothic horror anymore, and they weren't. Audiences had left that sort of atmospheric milieu. They left it in droves. You, me, we still love it, and there's an audience for it now. But Hammer trying to come back and back and back and try to be with the new thing. Rave from the Grave. What the fuck? You're taking the piss. What else did we get? Let Me In. Beyond the Rave. Sorry, not Rave from the Grave. The Resident, which was it's so bloody awful. With Christopher Lee as well. What the hell was he thinking? The Quiet Ones I did not enjoy. The One in Black I thought was great. The Lodge, shite. Dr. Jekyll, shite. Sorry, but it is. They can't find a niche for themselves. Hammer horror should find its own particular sledgehammer. Boosh! We're here and we're going to do this. We're going to do gothic horror, but with a more gory slant to things, and a more realistic sort of bent to things. Maybe. This, Ithaqua, the world's worst fucking title ever. It is. Don't deny it. That's a really shit title. Ithaqua. No one knows what the hell it means. And you can't even go like, well, they're going to try to find out what it means, and then it's going to be, they'll be interested. No, you don't. I know what it means. H.P. Lovecraft, it's there. The terminology is there, but the 99% of the movie-going masses do not know, and are not going to be asked about. Like, well, what the hell does that mean? I can't pronounce it. I go onto Google and I can't even fucking spell it. So, it comes up with all sorts of shit. Oh God, Pornhub. It's a really, really bad title. Wendigo, everyone knows what that is, or they think they know what it is, but they know roughly what it is. And this clearly is a Wendigo, a take on the Wendigo mythology. Just put Wendigo. They're massively proud of, like, this is the first Hammer monster in 60 years. Hammer didn't create any monster apart from the reptile. He didn't. What? They didn't create zombies, they didn't create werewolves, they didn't create vampires, they didn't create Frankenstein's monster. They were all done before, and they were their own takes. They haven't created a fucking monster at all, ever. They haven't. The reptile, yes. We'll give them that. The Mummy, again. They did their own takes on these things. I kind of get what they're saying. Like, they haven't done anything, a new monster in their pantheon of beasts and, evilness. But, you know what I mean? Any more notes? What's this now? Oh, right, yeah. John Gore, who's now head of Hammer. He's not just doing this, he's doing something with Joan Collins. John Gore is also doing the bitter end with Joan Collins as Wallace Simpson. Really? How old is Joan Collins now? I'm going to play Wallace Simpson. The bitter end. Is it meant to be the end of her life and now Wallace Simpson's life transpired? Maybe so. Now, if John Gore's doing that with the Hammer, under the Hammer banner, okay, fine. Hammer did break out into other genres, war movies, Yesterday's Hero, Camp on Blood Island, did a lot of other genres, did sci-fi, I've got the Quasar movies, sci-fi, prehistoric movies, 1 million years BC, People of the Time Forgot, Creatures of the Well Forgot. You've got all those as well, which are all great. Moon 02, anyone? Yes, I love it. It's shit, but I love it. But they did try other stuff. So I'm not gonna knock John Gore for like, under my hammer powers, I'll do dramas, I'll do romance, I'll do this, I'll do a western, a hammer western. Could be interesting, could it not? Folks, the Wendigo, done hammer style. Hopefully it could be great. I want this to be great. You know me, I do this all the time. I talk about the movies which are they're in production, they're coming out, and there's many I've talked about in the last year or so which haven't come out yet. They still haven't come out, and we're waiting on them. And I always say, look, I'm not going to write this off because it could be great, and I always want these things to be great. I would dearly love Hammer to get a resurgence of power. Don't make it woke. Don't have any political agenda. If you have a political agenda and it would still work today, Hammer of the 50s and 60s and 70s, but the 60s especially, poked their fingers in the eye of aristocracy, of the institutions, of anyone that had power. They looked after the underdog. And Michael Ripper, the great Michael Ripper, he was a trawlerman, he was a fisherman, he was a shepherd, he was a fucking pub landlord, he was a copper, he was a sergeant in the army, he was this, that and the other. He was Joe Everyman, he was the guy on the street, the guy that was the underdog. Look after Michael Ripper and the films will take care of themselves. So you've got to find a new Michael Ripper. You've got to find that. If Hammer can use this new tool that they've got, that they're back in business, and they weren't overtly political when they made their films, their classic movies in the 50s and 60s. They weren't. But if you looked at them, you knew exactly what they were doing. They were attacking the institution and the aristocracy, the nobility. They hated them with a vengeance. They were union. They were for the unions, the working man. And before you go like, oh, well, if that's the case, I'm never going to watch a Hammer film again. Well, more fool you. Their films were magnificent, and they had that little hidden agenda. It was just, if you wanted it, it was there. If you didn't look for it, then you didn't worry about it. Just watch creature mayhem and people getting bitten on the neck and boobs, and you're happy. If Hammer can do it, Hammer can bring that vogue back with great low budget production design. You don't want Hammer to be overblown with like CG. You do not want that. I don't want that. Woman in Black really visually, aesthetically captured a new era of Hammer, and yet it didn't go anywhere. Okay, we got a sequel to it, which was shit. We didn't really go anywhere with Hammer, but they captured the Hammer ethos of dripping redolent atmosphere, terrifically atmospheric, ghostly. Oh my god, what's happening next? What's going to happen? And visually splendid, very, very gothic and gothic at the same time. If they can do that now, even with like this film set the 1900s, early 1900s, it could evoke that gothic quality. I'm thinking the way it's written up, you know, a mercenary arrives to look after this fair trading outpost who are beleaguered by something out there. Right, okay. I'm immediately thinking of, well, obviously Ravenous, but mostly Hateful Eight, Quentin Tarantino. And Hateful Eight is Tarantino's take on The Thing. And, you know, it is. And you even got Kurt Russell in there. And they're all trapped in a snowbound outpost. No one can trust anyone. There's different allegiances and motives. It is The Thing, a Western version of The Thing, which Tarantino said right from the get-go, it is my take on The Thing. And I've even brought Kurt Russell in there. So this film, Ithaqua, could be a similar sort of device. But you want to see the Ithaqua, the Wendigo. You want to see that in all its glory. Hammer has put out imagery on Instagram. I've seen one picture. I don't think they're genuine, I'll be honest. I don't know if they are. I can't say yes or nay. Oh no. That cough, it's come back again. I've been great. Last 2 days I've had no cough at all, and suddenly it's come back again. Kind of saying like, okay, Kilt-Man, wind it up. I'm sorry, I do apologise. I'm going to go back onto some great stuff. Let's go kill that bastard. Superb. What a double act though. Damon Albarn and Michael Nyman. Who would ever have thought the two of these would work together to do a movie soundtrack of such magnitude and such great diversity and you know, cultural. God, I sound like the big chief woke, you know, which I'm anything but. But it's very native. It's very tribal. It's very exciting as well. It's exciting when you're not coughing, that is. So Wendigo eats flesh and creates others of its own kind. It could be great. What I'm kind of like, you know, you have to have a mercenary guy, a hero, an anti. He's going to be an anti-hero, isn't he? If he's not, as I said before, he's the guy. Big twist. He's the fucking guy that's done it, and he's been stringing our protagonists along throughout the entire movie, and at the end, yes, I am Wendigo. Yeah. Suddenly you get that. I hope that isn't the case. But otherwise, you could tell, like, oh, you've got the man with no name turns up. You know, it's a frontier outpost. No one trusts him, but he's the taciturn, hard-assed fucking. You know, he's got guns aplenty under his fucking multiple jackets and all that. Could work. In fact, the more I think about it, the more I really want this to work. A frontier outpost. A stout-hearted, possibly very aggressive hero, anti-hero. Multiple victims, something out there prowling around. People who get bit who become one of them, an acolyte of the Wendigo. Doesn't it sound good? Doesn't it sound good? In the snow and the ice. Yeah! Come on now! Let's make this fucking work. John Gore, Casey Walker, don't fuck this up. Great soundtrack. You want like James Bernard, long gone. The signature music of Hammer, James Bernard. Dracula, Frankenstein, you know, he fantastic music. In imagine that revamped for a modern era. Now their version of Let Me In, or Let the Right One In, had Michael Giacchino did the score for that, and it's not that bad at all. I'm not a huge fan of their version of Let the Right One In. I didn't think it worked anywhere near as well. And that seems to show like how it's like, oh, and we'll leap on this and we'll try this idea and we'll do, oh god. It's them scrambling. Now that's over 10 years ago. Scrambling about trying to find, oh yeah, we're Hammer and we gotta, what do? We can't do the old books and blood on breasts and all this and lesbian vampires. We can't do that. Why? Why can't you? I think there's no reason why you can't do that. But you've got to move with the times. And I think they fell foul of that by going, especially with Dr. Jekyll. Listen to this. This is fucking phenomenal, this. I've said many times before, when we first moved into this house, this big haunted house, which I'm in right now, the Kilt Mansion, Spook Central, basically. We didn't have any kids at the time when we first moved in, but we had the big German Shepherd Pepper, and we had a huge Halloween party before we decorated any room. We did all sorts, chalk outlines of bodies on the floor. We stupidly painted in black gloss paint a devil's pentagram in the main movie room. No matter how much you paint over it, it keeps on coming through. And we did loads, and in every single room we had 100 guests, and everyone was in fancy dress, and we really went to town on it. In every single room I had, this is what, 2001 I think it was, or no it wasn't even that, it was 2000 I think it was, and we had like little CD players in every single room playing, and had different soundtracks playing on a little playlist, a little program playlist. In every single room, this was playing upstairs in one of the bedrooms. Like, everyone moves around in parties, big old house parties. People would often move around. They shouldn't do. But how many shags have you had in someone else's house at a party? Exactly. And that's part of the fun. So we had this and that. Play it again. Oh, you cunt. I took it. Listen. So people would be in there like nuzzly, fondly, and then suddenly I know, because people told me about it. That was also the night that we had the Exploding Heads extravaganza. At the back there, we back onto the cemetery, of course. Of course we do. And all the fence posts, it's all different now. We've changed the back garden. Not enough. And I had polystyrene heads filled with Branston pickle, ketchup, tomatoes, tea bags, all sorts of shit, mushy peas, and I'd put bangers into them, and like I'd explode these heads, boom, like scanners, or Dawn of the Dead, blowing the guy's head apart. It's just poof, and like chunks would come out, and it was great, but the last head didn't explode, and I was like, what the fuck? So I picked up this head. I was dressed in I was wearing a red tunic. I was wearing the first 24th of Foot, who got annihilated at Isandwana by the Zulus. I was wearing that tunic and those khaks and those boots, and I had massive facial scars, rips and gouges. I was an undead British soldier basically, and but this fucking head wouldn't explode. So I rammed more bangers into it, like I fucking lit them, and everyone's going like, put it down, and I'm going, hey, it'll go off in a minute. Boom! It fucking blew up. It blew me off my feet. It blew me way across the garden, and I was just covered in like what I thought was my own brain and blood and guts. obviously it was all the Branston pickle and the ketchup and all the apple cores and all that kind of shit. And I was like, ah! And then I got up and I thought, I am the undead. And it was great. Wonderful. We then went round and we went on every single, well, this has gone midnight. 80 odd people carrying severed limbs. We got all mannequins in, and I dressed the mannequins like they'd been severed. A severed leg, a severed arm, severed heads, eyeballs and rib cages. We had all this sort of stuff, and we all went round every single fucking house around here, banging at midnight, banging on the fucking doors, like, and people stupidly would come into their doors, and it's 80 odd people there, like, carrying severed limbs and axes and all that, and we're going trick or treat. You'll never recapture that. You couldn't do it. Well, you probably could, because the police wouldn't do a damn thing. If we all wore like face masks and fucking robes and dish dashes and all that, habibs, all that kind of crap, yeah, the police wouldn't do a damn thing. But probably if we were all like quite clearly white eyes, all riot squads, armed response units would be there in a flash. Oh, Kilty, you had to bring it in, didn't you? You had to bring it in at the end. Right, folks. Probably said me piece now. So Hammer is doing Ithaqua. It's Wendigo. Could be great. I've no idea when it's scheduled to be released. If they're doing principal photography right now, I would think did it in January. We're gone past the middle of February. We're almost the final week of February. It could be wrapped up. It could be one location. I don't know. Could be done. Not too much longer. Then you got post-production, and then you got to wait for its actual release slot to come through. I hope, I pray that this could be great. Luke Hemsworth, I do not mind him at all. Michael Durant, is it Michael Durant? Kevin Durant, fucking hell. I'm thinking of Michael Durant, who's the Black Hawk Down. It could be wonderful. I hope it's gory. I hope it's got a great score. I hope it's atmospheric. I hope they use the trappings of an early colonial sort of backwoods wilderness setting, and I hope they use it correctly. Snowbound, windswept, terrifying outdoors, but don't just keep it Night of the Living Dead. You're just in one location. Let's see you make forages outside. Let's see stuff in the woods. Let's see some excitement. Let's see some people getting chomped, and then you drag them back, but you gotta look after them. But hang on a minute, what's happening? They're changing. So you've almost got an Evil Dead capacity to it as well. But as it says, what is it now? A person, a cannibalistic giant, a person who's been transformed into a monster by the consumption of human flesh. And this translates into, and it's gone again. Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. I lost it off Google now. So sadly, whatever they said, it was like, you could put the bite on someone and they would become the worst thing imaginable. So you've got something out there who's hunting you, but if you've been bitten, oh no, you're going to become one of them. Right, folks, I have been always shall be Kilt-Man. Please please take care of yourselves, and I forgot my own tagline there. In the meantime, this ever meandering in between time, please keep it Kilted, keep it Celtic. Watch out for the Wendigo. The Wendigo. Where did Wendigo? He only went that way. Or did he go that way? I'm not sure. He went. Where'd he go? He went back there. But Hammer is still coming back. For us long-term Hammer fans and horror aficionados, How many fucking times have we heard this now? Hammer's coming back. Hammer's back. Yes, Hammer. Well, yeah, but fucking do something that's worth it, and like get us down. We will champion it, and we'll get more bums on the seats, more money in the box office, and you'll get more movies made. But don't fuck around. Remember your heritage. Remember what got Hammer's name so synonymous with horror. Get that right, and suddenly the alchemy, the black magic should come together. Do it. Do it now. And I'm trying to find something. I'm trying to find something suitably spooky and doom laden. I think I've got it here. Here we go, folks. Zombies. Hammer! Plague of the Zombies. And there's nothing more horrific than cold tea. You always want hot tea. Something's gone horribly wrong. Hot tea. You might be lying, wounded. Hot tea gonna make you feel great. But bizarrely, you can't drink it. And the tea goes cold. And then it goes cold, and suddenly, even because it's wet and cold, it's more refreshing when it's wet and when it's wet. More refreshing when it's cold. So suddenly, cold tea takes on its own new aspect and becomes better than hot tea. But we still love hot tea. Right, I'm out of here. Hammer, let me know. What do you think? Wendigo? Ithaqua. Ithaqua. In a way, I like that. They're going to use the Indian terminology. But I've looked at it, and did anyone ever call it Ithaqua? Well, apparently they did, but it's so way down the, the dialect, listeology. That's a word, listeology. So they've almost created their own terminology for this, and it's a really, really bad title. It is. John Gore, Casey Walker, whatever your name is, Casey Walker. Change your fucking title. That's shit. It's a shit title. Ithaqua. No one knows what that is. You and me might know what it is because I've just discussed it, but Joe Public doesn't know what it is. They're gonna go, what the hell? I can't say it out loud. I've got no idea what it means. You've got a big AI fucking poster, a snowscape with a skull in the mountains and the landscape behind. I don't know what it is. No, I'm out. They won't go and see it. Change the title. Ithaqua is a really, really bad title. Change it now. Do it now. Wendigo's better. Hammer's Wendigo. It works. Hammer's Ithaqua. You got like Hammer's mispronunciation of what? Because I've got no idea what the hell that means. Right, anyway, folks. Ta-da a bit.